Hello and happy Wisdom Wednesday. Thank you so much for tuning in today. It's your girl Maria Milagros, and oh, so for those of you who have been following either on social media or I don't think I talked about it so much in the videos, but um, I've been working on and writing a book, right? And it's done and it's ready for public consumption, and it's so scary. And it's so scary because it just is, right? Like, I guess that's part of the process. It's scary. And this book has been living inside of me for, I don't know, like a decade. True story, like a decade. And then last year, some events took place in my life, and I realized that I just have to start living in my fullness, and like enough, I have to get out of my way and start doing the things that God has called me to do and becoming the person that God has called me to become, and just living in my fullness, right? And dreaming big. I mean, ridiculous large dreams. I thought last year when we had the dream to go to Paris, and that was many years in the making, that was like big dreams, city girl, little city girl, not little, I'm from the Bronx, but city girl ends up traveling and leaves the country, something that to me in my mind was unfathomable almost, right? It just seemed like that was huge. That was a big dream. And my daughter had been talking about wanting to go to Paris for a long time, and then we made it happen. And with God and personal responsibility and just trusting, it happened, and we went to Paris. And then at the end of last year, a friend of mine, she gave me this like template, this format for writing a book. And for some reason, everything that God had given me and all the stories that I had and all the stuff that I had learned, when she gave me that, it just all came together, and I was able to sit and just bang out that book. And I wrote that book so fast. It was kind of crazy. And then there was another friend who offered to do the editing for me, and she went through the whole editing process. And then there was, because I was self-publishing, there was all of the formatting and all of the processing and all of that work, and like the nitty gritty nuts and bolts of everything became my responsibility. So I realized how much work was involved and went into this, right? You don't just write it and then publish it. I mean, you could, but it's probably going to sound crazy. But so it was a lot of work, but it was worth it, because I know in my heart of hearts that God gave me this dream so long ago for this perfect timing right now, so that this book could influence somebody else's life. Had I written this book, a couple of years ago, I don't think it would be as impactful or as powerful as it is today, because I really live in a place of freedom, and I live in a place of gratitude, and I operate from a place of love for God, for myself, for others. And it's not perfect, not by any means. And there are some days, look, I'm a girl from the Bronx, okay? Sometimes I want to jab people in their throat. That's real. But for the most part, my life is so great. And had it not been so horrible growing up, I don't know that it would be so great today. And I don't know what that sounds like. I don't know. Anyways, I wrote the book, and it's ready, and it's called Super Sparkly Everything, and it's amazing. And this was a big dream that I carried around for a long time. And the secret to how I did that was one little baby step every single day. That's the secret, right? The secret is you take teeny tiny baby steps. What is your big dream? What is your big dream? So that's what I want to talk to you about today. I want to talk about what is your big dream. What is the thing for you that you're like, this is crazy and it's scary? Because really your big dream should be kind of scary. That's the reality. It should scare you enough that you have to become a better version of yourself in order to fulfill that dream, whatever that means. You have to connect with something greater than yourself in order for that to manifest itself. It has to be scary, and it has to be something that you right now in this moment are not capable of doing. Because if you are, it's not a big dream. It's just something you can do any old day. But God did not give us life to live average or to live like the regular, mundane. No. He said, I've given you life to live it to the full, to live it to the abundant Abundant means you have plenty and then there's overflow. And that's just not just talking about money. That's just talking about, like your positive attitude. That's talking about how you give. That's talking about how you love. That's talking about how you love. So we have to dream like that, like crazy, outrageous, big dreams. And then my suggestion is to go get yourself a handy dandy notebook. Right? I have this wonderful journal that was given to me, and it says making things happen. And I write down in my journals, because I keep this one by my bed. I have one I keep in the bathroom, because sometimes in the shower you come up with your craziest, like, imagine if this happened. Yeah, write it down. Write it down. So I always write it down, because I feel like when I capture it and write it down, I'm taking it from becoming a dream to something that becomes a goal. And then I like to sit with it, and I spend time in prayer and meditation. I just kind of sit with it and like, what does this even look like? What would some of the steps of this be? And some of the steps I can't do. Like, I don't even know how to start or where to begin, but that's not my business. My business is to acknowledge the dream, to identify it, right? So that then I can start taking the little tiny baby steps, what I can do to check things off and to make it happen. And you'll find that when you really believe in your dream will believe in you, if that makes any sense. It will start to work its way, like the universe will conspire in your favor. When God is like, when you finally get out your way, then I'm able to take care of the how, and I'm going to start lining things up for you nice. You always hear people who say, when I finally decided to get out my way and I finally decided to go for it, things just started lining up. Things just started working out. Prayers just started to be answered. That's because you finally gave room for this thing to be birthed and to grow and to breathe and to have a life of its own. And we all have it in us. So please, 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 if you have a big dream, write it down. First and foremost, please write your dream down. Document it. Put the date on it. Now, I'm not saying date when you want the dream to come, because time is not a real thing, right? And I know I'm not trying to get too crazy and go over here to the left, or rather to the right. I don't know. But you don't want to focus on that. You want to focus on, here's my dream. Here are the things that I think I need to do in order to make this happen, right? And then what's something that you can do? You go as far as you can go, and you see that your dream is still way out there. Just go as far as you can go, and then trust God. Trust the process, because again, the how is not your business. You just have to keep showing up. And when you keep showing up from that place, recognizing who you are and whose you are, and you're willing to operate in your fullness, the steps will start to line themselves up. Like, it's bananas, but the steps will start to line themselves up. We have to love ourselves enough to recognize that God put a dream in us. He put those dreams in us for a reason. Every single person on this planet has a job, and that job is to positively impact the planet for the next generation or the next generation. Whether you are impacting one person's world or the world, your job is to make an impact, and everybody has within them the capacity to do it. I say this all the time, and I'm going to say it again and again and again. I am not an exception to the rule. I get scared. I get frustrated. I have moments where I'm like, I'm not doing this anymore. It's driving me crazy. Or I don't want to put my personal stories out there in the world. What will people think about me? And then I have to remember that it's not about me. It's not about me. It's about my impact in the world. And hopefully my stories will help someone else see that there's hope. Hopefully my stories will help someone else see that freedom is actually an option. That when we stay connected to our higher source, and when we take personal responsibility for every single area of our lives, we can start to turn our lives around, because really that's what Super Sparkly Everything is. Super Sparkly Everything is about living your life in freedom, the way that God intended. Free to be who you are. Free to share your stories, free to act the way that God has called you to be, free to love, because love for so many people is such a scary thing, and it's not supposed to be, right? Love is supposed to be our natural place, and we have to love ourselves enough to take a teeny tiny, itsy bitsy little baby step towards making our dreams real, because it's not just about you. It's about leaving your mark in the world. It's about making an impact to make the world a better place. It's about doing and using all that you have to leave it better for the next generations, right? So this is what I have for you. Please understand that fear is a natural part of it all. You're going to be afraid, because we are so well practiced in fear. So something pops off and you're like, first thing you think is, I'm scared. You don't think, oh, I got this. Yeah, I love myself. For most people, that's not real, right? You have to build yourself up to that place where you finally get to that place where fear doesn't even have room in your life anymore, right? So one, that's natural. I just want you to remember that. And when it does pop up, you have to turn to it like it's a person and go, I see you. You don't belong here. I'm going to tell you what's real. And you start beating it down with love. And not beating it down because love doesn't beat down. But you get what I'm saying. You want to start just pouring, smothering it in love. I know who I am. I know whose I am. I know that I was given gifts and capacities and blessings. I know that I was given life to live it to the full. I know that I have things that I need to leave on this planet. I know that my job is to die empty, right? And then you want to make sure that you capture that dream. Write it down. Write it down. Make a plan. Do what you can. And then trust and surrender what you can't to God. And then He will start to unfold for you. The universe, source, whatever you want to call it, will start to unfold for you the next step, the next step, the next step. And I'll tell you what, when you do it, it turns out that people who you didn't even realize were watching you become inspired because they said, if she could do it, I could do it. And then your children look at you and you are giving them permission by example to live in their fullness and to dream crazy bananas, like big, crazy dreams. The kind of dreams that God gave us, the kind of dreams that He intended. Imagine if we all really lived in our full. Imagine. So crazy. So that is dream big. Set goals, teeny tiny baby steps every single day, whether you feel like it or not. Every single day, take a step. Because you deserve it. Because the world deserves it. Because future generations deserve what you have. Because you're here for a reason. So, I wrote a book. I would love it if you made the investment in yourself and use the tools and the stories and just to, again, remember and know that you were given life to live it to the full, to have fun, and it should be filled with love, right? And so, yo, that's super sparkly everything. Oh, that's super sparkly everything. And that's the name of the book. It's Super Sparkly Everything. It's available right now on Amazon. I love you guys. I hope you have a great rest of your week and a fantastic, super sparkly, big dreams, crazy bananas kind of weekend. Love you. Oh, and if you like this, please subscribe. If you want more, subscribe. If you like it, hit the thumbs up, share it. I don't know. I need to go have a good celebration cry. I love you guys. Bye.